If you happen to be a big fan of any of the books I'm about to mention, please feel free to try to convince me to read them anyway because I probably won't unless someone gives me a really good reason to. Hello, my name is Elise, and this is going to be a video about books I very much intended on reading. I mean, they were on my TBR. I wanted to read them. I thought I was going to, and then I just never got around to reading them. Some of these books have been on my TBR longer than others, and by longer I mean some of these books have literally been on my want to read shelf of Goodreads since I joined Goodreads back in middle school. So yeah, those books that have been on there for literally years upon years, I don't know if I'll ever get to them. Some of the books I think are a bit more recent, so there is a chance maybe I will still read them. A lot of the books that are more recent that I didn't get to, the reason I didn't get to them is that there were just a million holds on them at the library and I was impatient, which happens a lot. So then I kind of lost interest. So maybe there's still hope for them. I know a lot of people like the books I'm about to mention. You will notice that there is kind of a common theme in these books. Yes, it is once again, they are all, maybe actually, yeah, either almost all or all of the books are from the same genre. Yes, it is BookTube's favorite genre, fantasy. I don't know why I keep trying to tell myself I love fantasy. I do not. Um, yeah, it's not for me. Maybe one of these books I'm mentioning was the book that could have convinced me fantasy is great and I'm missing out, so please tell me if I should continue reading these books, or I mean, pick them up in the first place, because most of these books I did not ever start. But yeah, I promise I did have a plan to read these books. It just did not happen. Okay, first book on this list, I'm just gonna get it over with so y'all can attack me right away. It is Six of Crows. I have mentioned before that I've started this book and never finished it. You can still see the bookmark where I stopped, pretty much in the beginning. I wanted to read this so many years ago. This is definitely one of the books that was on my TBR quite a few years ago. I do think there's hope that I'll still read this. I think I will still read this because I just started reading the Shadow and Bone series and I'm not liking it that much, but I heard this book is much better, so I'm interested to see what all of the hype is about. But yeah, I never really got around to it, and I've really been trying for years to get around to it. I mean, yeah, it's been quite a few years because I remember downloading it from the library probably beginning of high school, and I'm in my second year of college now. So yeah, I never got past, let's see, I never got past page 134, and by now I don't remember what's happening. So if I do choose to pick this up again, I'll start over. I think out of all the books on this list, this is the one with the most amount of chance that I will pick it up again. So some other books I never got around to is literally anything by Cassandra Clare. You can't see it in the, well, you can kind of see it. These books right here, they are all Cassandra Clare. They're from the, I don't even know what it's called, Mortal Instruments series. And I have one from, what's the other series called? The Clockwork series. I don't know what it's called. Infernal Devices. There we go. I remember. I'm pretty sure I only read maybe these two. I do not remember what happened. I'm pretty sure, this might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I quit right at the beginning of the third book, but I do happen to own this entire series. I own the first book in the Infernal Devices series, and yeah, it just never happened. I never got around to them. I did buy these books in middle school, so it's been quite a few years. Once again, I am in my second year of college. These books have literally been living on my shelf before I even had a bookshelf, and I just never got around to them. I don't know if I will ever get around to them. Maybe at least the Mortal Instruments series since I own it, because like at this point it's been on my shelf for so long, why not try to read them? But I don't think I'll ever read any other Cassandra Clare books. I don't know, they don't really appeal to me. I don't like fantasy, as I've already mentioned, and I've heard some weird controversial things about Cassandra Clare, but regardless of all of that, I don't know. None of the summaries of the books or anything have really interested me, so probably won't happen. And here we go with another slightly controversial one. I have never really gotten around to reading Sarah J. Maas books. I don't even know if that's how you pronounce her last name. Maas? Mass? Ma I don't know. I usually look up the names before I say them in a video, and I just assumed I knew how to say her name, and now I'm realizing I don't. So please correct me. But anyway, I really did want to read her books because I've heard so many people say so many things. I know she has the, oh my gosh, what is it called? The Court of Thorns and Roses series. I'm holding one of the books right now. I don't know what the actual series name is called. And also that other one, oh my gosh. I'm failing. Book Twitter would be so mad. Throne of Glass? Yes, maybe? Anyways, I've heard many things about them. People outside of book Twitter, booktube, book community have recommended these books to me. So like people from school. And I think that is quite interesting because usually I don't see an overlap like that. So clearly quite a few people think these books are good. But I read this first one, A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I just was not impressed. I keep hearing to continue the series. I don't know if I will because this one didn't entertain me enough for me to want to continue the series. And it wasn't just like, I thought it was okay. Maybe I'll continue the series. I don't know. I just have no desire. Maybe I will. Now I'm talking and I feel like maybe I should, but probably not. So this next book is super new. It's actually really new. I think it just came out recently. It is called These Violent Delights, and I have seen so many things about this book. So many BookTube reviews, Goodreads reviews, Twitter rants, Twitter reactions, Twittering, whatever. I've seen a lot about this book, and let's be clear, I am not the kind of person who sees a lot of hype for a book and then thinks, ooh, I don't want to read that book because it's hyped. No, if you hype up a book, all of a sudden I want to read it, even if I know it might not be my favorite genre. And from what I know about this book, it is a Romeo and Juliet retelling, question mark. I literally have no idea. That is all I know. But I did really want to read it because so many people were saying so many good things about it. And I don't know, I wanted to jump on that train. I really did. I was super excited. And then publication date came and I did not have the money to buy a brand new hardcover. So I was just waiting for my library to get it. But then by the time, that all happened, I just kind of lost interest. And it wasn't because, I don't know, I thought it would be bad or whatever. I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it, but this is another book on my list, like Six of Crows, that I could probably pretty easily be pushed into taking it off my want to read shelf and moving it to my currently reading shelf because maybe I should give it a chance because it literally was just released and I don't know why I've already lost interest. So the next book is definitely an older book. It is The Book Thief, and I've owned this exact copy of The Book Thief since middle school also. So yeah, this is another very old book on my shelf that has been there since I did not have bookshelves. I just had piles. I plan to read it, that is why I own it, and I actually remember when the movie came out, I did not let my family see the movie because I said I have to read the book first before we go see the movie. Well, I never read the book, so my family has not seen the Book Thief movie, all because middle school me did not want to see the movie without reading the book first. This is a historical book, and it is a little chunky, and I kind of don't like either of those when it comes to books. Not a big fan of historical fiction, not a big fan of books on the longer side. Probably why I never got around to it. Maybe, again, question mark, I'll come back to it, I'm not sure. But I've heard really good things about it. It's just not my typical genre, but I mean, maybe I'll read it so that way my family can finally watch the movie. Maybe this video is just an excuse for me to show off all the books that have been on my shelf since I started collecting books back in like, I don't know, 5th or 6th grade. And here's another series. It is upside down. Oops. This is the Ugly series. Not the most attractive spines. I mean, it's kind of weird. It's just like little body parts on there. But yeah, I have owned these probably for literally forever. I own the whole series, or at least I think this is the whole series. And guess who never got around to reading them? That would be me. I don't know if I'll read them at this point. I did plan to, clearly, that is why I bought the whole series. But after looking at some reviews, I mean, back at the time when I bought these books, when I was like 13 or 14, they were very hyped. I don't know if I could say hyped, but they were definitely popular. A lot of people read them. But now looking at some reviews, it looks like they are quite mediocre young adult fiction, and I don't know if mediocre is enough for me to make it through 4 books. But I don't know. I feel like a couple years ago maybe I heard something about like a movie or TV show. I don't know if that's actually happening or if it has been happening, or I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I'll read it. I mean, I'll still hang on to them for probably a few more years. So this next book is controversial. Not controversial because I said I never got to it, but the author is a little questionable. But it is The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. I don't even know if I said the title right. Oh my gosh. The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. That sounds right. Well, you can correct me later if it's wrong, or I will have the picture up here, or maybe I already have the picture up there, and you will see if I said it wrong. And then there's all that controversy with the author, and I think she was like signing other people's books. I don't even know. I just remember vaguely hearing that on Twitter, but I didn't really know who the author was, and I was like, what? But yeah, because of all that, it's not happening. I'm not gonna read that series. I think that's a bit much of controversy for me to deal with. But yeah, just know at some point I thought I was gonna read it. Not anymore though. So the next book is Children of Blood and Bone, and I was really looking forward to this book. I'm not sure why, because again, I don't read fantasy. I think it's fantasy. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was gonna be good, and then I just never got around to it. I guess that's the theme of this video. But I'm not really sure why I kind of lost interest in reading it. I never started it, never took it out from the library or anything, never owned a copy. But over the years, I just decided maybe I didn't want to read it. I don't really know why, so let me know if it is actually good. But yeah, I think it's, if I remember correctly, it's on the longer side, and I just kind of struggle when it comes to longer books. I don't know if that was the entire reason why I lost interest, but yeah, it's just not been very high on my TBR anymore. But let me know if it is really good. And then there's another author that is popular on BookTube, Twitter, Instagram, community, the book world, the YA book world specifically, that I just never got around to reading. It is Laini Taylor. I hope that's how you say that name, Laini Taylor. I think that's right. But yeah, I always wanted to read her books. I always saw them in Barnes & Noble and thought they were so pretty. I did not know what they were about. I still don't know what they're about, but I am now the proud owner of this duology, or at least I think it's only 2 books, I don't know. And they still look gorgeous to me, and I will read them eventually. But once again, they are quite thick, and I struggle with longer books. And usually to get through longer books, I read audiobooks. To go along with the book. Like, I'll listen to the audiobook while looking at the physical book, but I've not been able to find audiobooks for these except on Audible, but I don't have any Audible credits or whatever. So yeah, that's why I've been putting this off. I do think I will probably read these eventually, especially since I own them now, and I just recently got these last year. So it will happen. But yeah, I've been planning on reading this author since probably middle school again, but it just still hasn't happened. And then this last book that I never got to is just some random thing I thought of when looking at my bookshelf. It is Rebel by Marie Lu. It is the 4th book in the Legend series. I'm pretty sure it's the 4th book. Like, it comes after the 3rd book. Maybe it's some kind of prequel. I'm not really sure. I'm pretty sure it is the 4th book though. But as you can kind of see in my corner over here, I bought all of the Marie Lu books, the Legend books, when I was a kid. In middle school, yes, again, and I got them all as I was reading them, and I loved that series when I was younger. I did try to reread it a couple years ago, and it wasn't as good as I remembered. The writing was a lot more juvenile than I remembered, which made sense because I read the books when I was really young compared to now. But yeah, I wanted to read the newer book because I was surprised there was a newer book, but then I just never got to it. And maybe I will, but I'm not too sure because I don't think that series is as interesting as I thought it was when I read it back in the day. But who knows, maybe it is better, and Marie Lu has written quite a few books since the first Legend books, so I'm sure her writing has improved since then. And that is it for this video. I'm sorry if I never got to some book that you really loved. Please feel free to tell me to read the book if I mentioned a book you really like. Maybe I'll read it, maybe I won't, who knows. But that is it for today. I am sure there's many books that I will never get to. This video could have been like 5 hours long, but that's okay. We only have a limited amount of time, and that means a limited amount of time to read books. that kind of ended on a dark note. We're just gonna end the video. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye. And then there was all that controversy with the... And then there was all that controversy. Oh my gosh, this is not the first video where I could not say the word controversy.